Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? So what a morning in Bitcoin, guys. So anyway, yeah, I'm Dan from Trading with Dan. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, and we will quickly go over to those charts. So there we have it. Look at that for a candle. This is obviously an Elon Musk inspired candle. It did take I did see that he'd posted he changed his Twitter name or something in his description rather than just an actual tweet about it saying Bitcoin. It did obviously take a little bit of time to filter through to the crypto or the Wall Street bets people or whoever he's basically whoever he is unofficially in charge of basically at the moment. So yeah, and then obviously we got this big massive pump. What I will say is yesterday we did draw this horizontal roughly in the middle of this range and said basically breaking above that level is probably then going to trigger the move to the next level, the main level of resistance, the top of this range, which it did basically do. So we broke above there, we tested the top, we wicked above, came back down, and if you actually look at this where we drew this, I mean this is basically within like what is that, yeah, this is basically within about 30 or $40 on a $30,000+ asset within a range of the back test. So we had the paycheck, the forward check, the back check, and then well, just there's your paycheck, and look at it, and what a paycheck it is. So there you go. But mainly what we need to take from this is that we are currently above this level of resistance. Clearly this candle, this is a 4-hour candle, it's got plenty of time to run, 2 hours 30, more than half of it left. We've broken above the downward sloping trend line, we've broken above the horizontal, and yeah, so realistically we've got if we hold this level, hold this 36k level, 36k level, yeah, I mean we could basically be making our way to 40k. That is if we don't just make our way there now. What I will just say to be a little bit careful of with this move is this is clearly not an organic move. This is probably just a result of Elon. So we have had similar things with obviously China pumped Bitcoin from, I think it was about it was around 8,000 to about 10,500, and then we subsequently came back all the way down and lower. So when you do get basically external influences, such as at that time when we had Xi Jinping talking about basically cryptocurrency in China. They can often be retraced. But what I will say is that we have Elon, who basically is who is obviously the unofficial leader of Wall Street bets, telling them what to do. And if he is basically saying, right, let's get into Bitcoin, or going to start pumping it even more, like he did with Dogecoin, like he does with Dogecoin. I mean, the pumps in Dogecoin are largely down to Elon. Obviously, Elon wasn't fully responsible for GameStop, but he did also tweet GameStonks as well. So yes, he's playing a dangerous game though. He's playing a dangerous game because he is a known SEC convicted market manipulator. So obviously to a certain extent they let him get away with what he does because I mean they want stonks up, and he has a positive effect on the market. But if he starts messing with the melons of the real guy, the real traders, the real institutions, and I say real traders, the real institutions, the real elite class, the real people that control everything, the real people behind the scenes, then yeah, I mean, then they will probably cut him loose and send him to jail, and yeah, let the actual cronies behind the scene basically just carry on doing what they are doing, their market manipulation. So he's playing a dangerous game. So yes, yeah, let's just be cognizant of that fact. So all I really want to say is, yeah, great, we bounced, we're up here, but we've got to see how this pans out, because we could just get a full retrace, and if we get a full retrace from here, and this is just a wick up out of this descending triangle, then that is gonna clearly be a bearish sign, and that will clearly give us the momentum to smash below this horizontal and clearly get us down to at least about 23k. So obviously that is not what gonna that is not I'm not saying that is what is gonna happen. I'm just saying if that does occur, if we do come back down, if we do basically get back within the descending triangle, if we then do basically take out this level here and then obviously this level here, then we would have a lot of difficulty maintaining this level with that obviously bearish candle structure. So yeah, just be aware of that. Like I said, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying obviously there is a difference between Xi Jinping and Elon Musk. Elon Musk, like I said, has like one of the world's largest decentralized hedge funds behind him. Xi Jinping doesn't. So yeah, and also like all these American people with their stimmies, with their stimmy checks. They don't really listen to the Chinese dude, but they do listen to the American dude. Well, he's South African, isn't he? But whatever. So yeah. So there we go. Also, I mean, I would know acceleration on the 9. Always be aware of the acceleration on the 9, guys, and you can often get these fake pullbacks in the 8s. I mean, I do know I'm obviously going to have to obviously say, look, this is obviously due to outside influence, but I mean, you can get pullbacks on the 8, faking you into thinking the pullback's coming, it's getting front run on the 9, and then you get slammed up on the 9, which is what's happened there. But yeah, currently, this is just incredible. Currently, we are basically at around the 38k level. I mean, this is obviously our horizontal here. These, I pretty much are pretty much sort of like the wick. I mean, this is basically the resistance zone. I know I say 40k. 40k is roughly the middle of the zone. 30k is roughly, obviously, well, more than rough. 30k is more precisely the level here. But yeah, 40k is sort of the zone. But yeah, I mean, it realistically is actually 38 to 42. Here's the level. Here's actually the resistance drawing in about, well, about 39. And then here's our high about 42. So yeah, I mean, this is the resistance sort of area. Get above here, we're obviously going higher. But yeah, I mean, we could basically maintain up here, trade sideways, then basically decide what we're going to do. Are we going to come back and test the middle of the range? Are we going to come back and test this major resistance? This was obviously the major resistance level, this downward sloping trend line and this horizontal. So we could very easily come back and test this around 36 to we call it 36 to 35k. We could come back and back test that, and then and then obviously we can obviously have a real paycheck where we go back to 60k. Not that this is not a real paycheck, but yeah, just off some actual more major levels. So yeah, crazy things going on. Obviously, I mean, we just got to expect Ethereum, Bitcoin is getting slammed because Elon didn't tweet Ethereum, he tweeted Bitcoin. People are buying Bitcoin, not Ethereum. So obviously Ethereum is not going to be able to keep up with this move, obviously with the people buying Bitcoin and not Ethereum. But I would expect once the dust settles, people will then start to eye the other markets for relative value. Ethereum obviously being the next one that people eye up. So yeah, obviously we know it is getting slammed, but I would not necessarily think it would be unreasonable to then see, obviously, when this just settles, Ethereum gets bought up, this basically comes back up, and we end up basically in the same level, just with a big wick to the downside. But obviously it doesn't have to happen. But hey, that is what I potentially expect. Bitcoin dominance, I mean, clearly taking the whack again, because obviously it's Bitcoin, not the other alts. But I mean, this isn't as concerning at the moment. I mean, if it does reverse the trend and changes, then fair enough. But like I said, it's an outside influence on just Bitcoin, so I'm not worrying about it too much, and I would expect this to be retraced and just be a wick to the upside in both, obviously, BTC.D and Ethereum Bitcoin. But we shall see. Obviously, note we've come back down to this level here, so see if that supports us. Quick look at DXY. DXY holding up there all right, holding up there okay. So yeah, I mean, obviously we've basically got a potential even targets as high as 92s for a rejection and then come back down. So I mean, this is fine. This is not looking like a reversal in the dollar yet to me, until we break above 92s and keep going upwards. Stonks had a very good rally back up, but obviously finding their way back down. But yeah, a lot of volatility coming in here. Yeah, a lot of volatility. Obviously, to a certain extent, We are now all aware that markets are broken, fully broken, that people are just basically buying things just to squeeze hedge funds, regardless of what that thing is, its underlying fundamentals. So they are just playing they're just playing the game. They're playing the game, playing hedge funds at their own games, because hedge funds play games, hedge funds cheat, they play games. It's very difficult in a zero-sum game to consistently make money unless you basically cheat. And all the things that Wall Street would do they're basically cheating. They won't call it cheating. The SEC won't call it cheating or anything like that. But they are cheating at the game basically. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, obviously they're cheating, and now obviously they don't like it when actual just market forces of just literally just more buyers and sellers, more buyers and sellers. The simple thing of more buyers and sellers. I mean, I will often say when the price is going up, why is the price going up? More buyers and sellers. Why is the price going down? More sellers than buyers. That is the simple most concept that you guys need to understand with price movement up or down, and I know you guys do. I know you do anyway. But yeah, more buyers and sellers, more sellers than buyers. So Wall Street hedge funds, they just didn't like more buyers and sellers, and they wanted to stop the buyers buying. I mean, it is absolutely just disgusting. It is just fully mask off the cheating hedge funds. Just disgusting. Rules changing and cheating though, that's what we always say. No, rules change. We say basically rules changes. Basically that's what happens when basically the people in charge of the rules or in charge of the people in charge of the rules don't like what's going on. Rules changes. That's what happens. So that is what we got. Anyway, so yeah, we'll have a look at those stochastics. I suspect. I mean, it's not the most relevant thing to look at. 4 hour coming up looking good. Clearly, if 10 hour isn't turning up, it's going to be turning up with Bitcoin up here. If 12 hour isn't turning up, it's going to be turning up. But these have got room to run, guys. But obviously, when these next tick, they're obviously going to be they're going to shoot up pretty high based on current price action. Daily turning back up can get moving. 2-day could turn back up and get moving will turn back up and get moving on the next tick based on this price action. Same with 3-day, 5-day probably as well. I mean, all of these are probably with price action where it is now are probably going to turn back up. And then, I mean, just stochastics read, we're going to see 60k, aren't we? Obviously everyone just be fully cognizant and aware of the fact that this is a bit of an inverted commas manipulation move. So yeah, it could get fully retraced and then slam us to the downside. So definitely be aware of this, guys. Be aware of this. But I don't think that is the likely scenario. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying as me saying that's what I think is going to happen, what is most likely. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying be aware of that. If that does happen, if this retraces, gets back into this triangle and starts to make its way lower, we are going to have a very good shot of basically breaking this and coming down to 23k. But like I said, until that happens, it is not something to have to consider. And at the moment, all we've really got to consider is holding this, say, 36k level and progressing to the upside. So yeah, that is it, guys. Wild morning markets, guys. I mean, obviously we all know about Dogecoin going mental. We know about obviously stock markets going nuts. Yes, we are entering a new phase of absolute craziness in markets. So yeah, just be careful out there. Make sure when you guys get some of these massive pumps, you're taking profits. Make sure you're taking profits basically, because these things can reverse on a dime. Like I've said, rules changes can come in, and if you think basically influencers tweeting can affect markets, you don't want to basically even consider what actual rules changes can do to markets. So there we go, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. It's not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys later on today.